Marcus Rashford is going to be back for Manchester United, hopefully against Leicester. He hasn't played at all this season, and he is crucial for this Manchester United team. And I think it's bigger than most people realise, his return. How important it is, the timing of it for both Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We need a boost. Solskjaer needs a boost. The whole team needs a boost. And Rashford's return, for me, is going to be quite significant. So I want to do this video. I'm going to run through what I would consider Manchester United's strongest starting 11 with Marcus Rashford back in the team, because things had to change. A few players had to move positions for sure, but I think it's going to make the most balanced and strongest team that we've had so far this season. Please, if you enjoy this video, make sure you drop a like on it. Hope you enjoy the new studio. Got a new sofa coming tomorrow, artwork coming up. Can't wait to make it bigger and better. And thank you everybody for helping on United People's TV, making that happen. But please, as I said, drop a like on the video, watch this whole video and leave me your opinions in the comments about whether or not you agree with my strongest 11. Now, as far as the back five goes, I think I've said this before, there are no real questions as to what five are starting. It's David De Gea, it's Luke Shaw, it's Raphael Varane, it's Harry Maguire, it's Aaron Wan-Bissaka. The only questions that we've got about them is why the fuck can't they keep a clean sheet? Coaching certainly is an issue. Defensive positioning, sure, for sure, against Everton, I believe it was, and even Villarreal. Everybody, it's strange how somehow we've managed to become worse defensively after signing Raphael Varane, and the fact that we've been playing Fred and McTominay as two holding midfielders in front of them all season. If you're not going to keep a clean sheet with that back five and with two holding midfielders, then something has to give. Something has to change. But I don't think it's personnel. For me, this is easily United's first choice back five. I don't think that really changes at any point this season, so long as all of them are fit. Dean Henderson might have been number one, but Dave's reasserted himself as one of the best in the world. Shaw's not been as good as he was during the Euros for England last season for United. He's had a slow, shaky start to the season. I definitely think the lack of Rashford on the left has impacted that. So that will be a certain positive of Rashford coming back. But Shaw's definitely got to find another level. And Wan-Bissaka, you know, as good as he is defensively, we have seen his weaknesses going forward. Now, Maguire and Varane is a partnership that I haven't yet seen the best of. Is it a case of Varane adapting to life in the Premier League? Is it a case of the football and the style that we're playing? I don't know, if I'm being completely honest, but I want to see more of it. But there's no doubt that back five, it's still the back five with or without Marcus Rashford. It's when you get to the midfield and when you get to the attack, there has to be changes. Now, before I move on to the midfield, a big shout out to OneFootball, who continue to help and sponsor United People's TV throughout October and November. Please make sure, if you haven't already downloaded the app, it's dead easy, it's dead quick, it's dead free. Just click the link in the description. All the latest United news in there, all the latest transfer news, all the latest pre-match build-up, all the match stats, all the post-match reaction. It's all in one place for you. And it's free to download. OneFootball, great guys who run OneFootball. Been working with them for a long time now. Long-time supporters of United People's TV too. So if you would, it will help United People's TV and it will help OneFootball. Click the link in the description and go over there. Download that app. It's free. Seriously. What are you waiting for if you haven't already? But I want to now talk about midfield. If we had midfield questions before the return of Rashford, there's probably even more to have now. Without Rashford so far this season, Paul Pogba's been allowed to, certainly with that Leeds game, opening game of the season, Pogba was given that left wing. He got 4 assists. Let's not forget how good that incredible performance was. But with the return of Rashford, Pogba has to drop deep, and Pogba has to play in a midfield too, as far as I'm concerned. It's not as if he can't play there. Seriously, it's not as if he can't play there. You watch France in the UEFA Nations final, Pogba playing alongside Tchouaméni. I believe he played alongside Rabiot earlier in the tournament. Paul Pogba played and excelled in a midfield too. The difference with France and United is that the midfield two is further up the pitch because their natural pressing game, certainly when they're 1-0 down, it's a bit weird actually. United and France almost similarly play better when we're 1-0 down. But it means that Pogba's starting position is higher. Instead of being like a midfield two with McTominay and Fred, he's almost on the halfway line with France. And that's why he works better in that sort of midfield two than a midfield two where he's got to receive the ball on the edge of his own box. That comes down to United's midfield and how he's set up. And for me, it's abundantly obvious that the best midfield two United have got this season Surprise, surprise, it doesn't involve Fred, and surprise, surprise, it doesn't involve Scott McTominay. It's Matic and Pogba. Easily the best midfield two we've got. And the only problem that we've got there is energy and fitness. Matic is too old. We know he's too old to operate in that sort of holding role on his own. Otherwise, he would have been doing it all season. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen McTominay do it against Villarreal and do it so poorly. Matic, I want to see him start more games for United. If we're looking at midfield balance and midfield shape and balance everywhere and shape, Matic for me is quite a crucial part of that from now on. Fred and McTominay, bin them as a partnership. I think individually, they're both good squad players for Manchester United. I can even see a future for Fred and a future for McTominay in a couple of years. But together, they're crap. They're really crap. It's a bit like Lindelof and Maguire. Both on their own have now since proven themselves to be good defenders for Manchester United. But together, no. It just does not work. Fred and McTominay far too defensively minded when they play alongside each other and technically limited going forward. Even if McTominay is not that defensively minded, he's just not, doesn't have the ability to carry the ball through the lines. That's why Pogba has to play there, because Rashford is 100% going out on that left-hand side. Rashford, I have missed. I have missed Marcus Rashford. More than I actually anticipated, really. There's been a severe lack of balance in the shape. And it's not as, I mean, everyone talks about that quite a lot about United, but even more so without Rashford. Sorry, Dr. Marcus Rashford, MBE. I'll get it right. But Rashford coming in on the left-hand side is the perfect timing for Solskjaer. He needs it. Solskjaer needs it. On the pitch, I'm not sure there's any player really more loyal to Solskjaer and what he's been doing at Manchester United, the good work that he's done so far. And Rashford, I think it embodies that more than anybody else. So getting Rashford back into the team at a time when our backs are really against the wall. After Villarreal, after Villa, after Everton, there's real pressure on Solskjaer. There is huge pressure on Solskjaer to deliver improvements. And Rashford, I think, has the ability to bring that back into this team. Rashford last year, I mean, his goal return and his assist return was quite outstanding, sensational even, given the fact that he played all season long with an ankle ligament tear. Remember the double stress fracture in his back as well from the year before, and also he had a shoulder injury, and then he shouldn't have gone to Euro 2020. That was really poor. Really poor from Gareth Southgate. He even knew he was injured, and then just let him sit on the bench, and then brought him on for the penalty in the final. You're an absolute arsehole, Gareth, for that. But Rashford is 100% fit. His shoulder has fully recovered. His ankle ligament tear has had time to heal. And Rashford is going to set the tone on that left-hand side. And also at the same time, if we're looking at this formation, the best team, it's Rashford on the left, it's Bruno in the middle, it's Sancho on the right, and it's Ronaldo up front. And it's not even a question. Obviously, there's people that are going to say, look, Sam, how can you not put Greenwood in there? He's had an absolutely blistering start to the season. Yes, he has. But he's been a little bit, I suppose his form's gone off in the last couple of games. I'm not going to slate him for that. That's just the way it works in football. There's very few footballers that don't get affected by that sort of inconsiderate. That's sometimes good. Sometimes it may be good. Sometimes it may be shit. I wouldn't say Greenwood shit at the moment, but Sancho, regardless of not whether he had those 2 assists against Andorra, right? Sancho has to start on the right-hand side for Manchester United. I don't get people when they say, look, he can play on the left wing. I don't care that he can play on the left wing because Rashford could play on the right wing. Doesn't mean I want him to. We need Sancho out there, and we need him staying high and wide. We need Sancho to bring that width, to stretch that defence, and to be the outlet for Bruno Fernandes, who really has to step up and really sort of, with Bruno there and Marcus Rashford there together, there should be a new pressing tempo inside this front four. Obviously, Ronaldo's not going to press, so it does make the press difficult / impossible, because we all know that if you don't press as a unit, then you don't really press at all. But maybe that's probably going to see Bruno Fernandes coming through as a second striker rather than Ronaldo pressing. That'll be interesting to see. That's probably the only issue I would say I've got with this front four. Yeah, is the fact that Ronaldo doesn't press and the other 3 are so good at it. But that's Ronaldo. Can't take that away from him. But Sancho, I keep saying it. When he starts, it's going to be ferocious. It's going to be very difficult to stop. And that front 4 there of Rashford in his best position on the left-hand side, Sancho in his best position on the right-hand side, one of the greatest of all time goal scorers up front in Ronaldo, and Bruno just behind, is an incredible front 4. Ronaldo, I think, will continue to score goals. I think Ronaldo will thrive off the partnership he will build with Marcus Rashford. Rashford playing with his idol and one of his best mates in Sancho. It's a dream situation for Marcus Rashford to come back into. And as I said, not only is his quality going to help improve this team, his tempo, his desire. There's cliche words that you can apply to why Marcus Rashford. Malcolm? Why Marcus Rashford is going to improve this team. And they will. And I really hope he sets the tone, because there's just been too many games this season, last season, under Solskjaer, under every manager, I suppose, that we just let the games pass us by. And I've always said it, and I always expect it. Manchester United, in these big games coming up, we've got Leicester, we've got Atalanta, we've got Liverpool. We will play better. We tend to play better in these bigger games because we're up for it. And Marcus Rashford will be more up for it than he has been in a long time, having missed the first couple of months of the season, having sat there on the sidelines and watched Ronaldo playing for United and he's not involved. Marcus Rashford, I bet he cannot wait to get back in this team, and I can't wait to see him. So for me, the front four picks itself. I would say the midfield two, in my opinion, picks itself. But unless your name's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you see it's something very, very different. If we're going to continue sticking with Fred and McTominay, then we're going to starve ourselves of the sort of service that Bruno will need to feed these front three. Ronaldo, Rashford, and Sancho, with Bruno as the playmaker, feeding all of them with the runs in behind, with the sharp runs that Rashford and Sancho will be making. Ronaldo should be scoring so many tap-ins, just fired across the box, and Ronaldo's there at the right place at the right time. That's all he has to do when he's got players like Rashford and Sancho on the wings, or Greenwood, of course. But Pogba, for me, has to drop deep. And for me, the only partner that really suits him inside that team, that's Matic. Matic is too old, and it's going to need good man management. It's going to be, I don't know, bringing him on in the 55th minute or bringing him off in the 55th minute for McTominay or Fred, or just, he obviously won't be able to play 90 minutes too often. But look, man, Fernandinho's old as fuck and Busquets is old as fuck. And I know you could say that they play different styles, and of course they do, but mate, if fitness changes from player to player, of course. But Matic has never really been as sort of an out-and-out sprinter, is he? He's been that sort of player that operates in a position and holds his position. So instead of, I think I said this on a live stream the other day, instead of it being like Fred, who he covers so much ground because he's rarely in the right position, Matic is invariably in the right position more often than not, which means he doesn't have to move that much. And I just think in terms of balance, and that's the key word in this whole shape, because we've got such a top-heavy team. You haven't included Martial there. You haven't included Cavani. You haven't included Greenwood. You haven't included Lingard, who's been scoring plenty from the bench this season. We're top-heavy. Midfield, we're Donut FC. We know we're Donut FC. But for me, Matic and Pogba is the only duo I can see inside this squad that can provide a little bit of cover defensively. We shouldn't need as much. Not with Shaw, Varane, Maguire, and Wan-Bissaka. We shouldn't need to have two holding midfielders with a back four that good. Of course you shouldn't. They should be playing with a slightly higher line, squeezing the space out, and doing the job that maybe one of those holding midfielders would do anyway. But that's the 11 I want to see. De Gea in goal, Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire and Varane. I want to see Matic and Pogba in midfield. Will we see it? I don't know. I keep saying it and I repeat it. You know I'm a staunch supporter of Solskjaer. But if he's going to stick with Freddie McTominay, it's going to, as I said, they're going to dig his own grave. He will. Because they're just not good enough. And we have such a team which is littered with quality and attacking talent that we have to try and make the most of it. And that's why you need to play Pogba slightly deeper. And he can play there. Showed it throughout the entire Nations Cup with France. That would be my team. Matic and Pogba, Rashford on the left. I can't wait to see Marcus Rashford back. Seriously. We've missed him so much. It's a lot of pressure, I think, for Rashford to come back in on. But I think as Rashford has shown as a human being on and off the pitch, he's a diamond. His ability to manage and inspire people and do everything at the same time is incomparable, I would say, inside this United squad. And we need a role model back in this team. And I think Rashford's going to add a lot. I'm excited to see him come back in. I'm excited to see him play with Ronaldo and with Sancho. Two players he hasn't played with yet at United. I'm excited. And for me, that team there is so capable. It's so capable. And I want to see it dominate. I want to see it do everything that it did against Leeds, but more often. And I know that so many of you are feeling sort of apathy towards United, and you can't really be asked. And it's been a long international break, man. It really has. I know international breaks are long, but when you go in off the back of negativity, it makes it fucking drag. And I've not enjoyed it. I've really not enjoyed it. But I'm excited to see that team. I'm excited to see Rashford back. You let me know in the comments below what you think about that team. Is that the best 11? Agree or disagree? Please leave it in the comments. And as I said before, if you would, click the link in the description, download OneFootball. It will help United People's TV and it will help the guys at OneFootball, and everyone's a winner. But what would be your strongest starting 11 now that Rashford's back in the team?